I don't even know where to start with the unknown. When I tell you there was plot twist after plot twist after plot twist up in this damn book, I went into it not really knowing what to expect. I did get this as an ARC read. It comes out in August, but I'll give you guys kind of like a generalized about what this book is. So this book is based on events that happened in 1926 on this island on a lake in Vermont. And this producer, he wants to make a movie about it because there was these 5 women there on the island that disappeared in 1926 and nobody knows like what the fuck happened. And everybody believed that like they were witches and they were like working on their powers, and they just disappeared. So then there was this unknown actor. She always wanted to be an actor, and her manager called her, and her manager was like, hey, there's a casting call for this movie and they're looking for an unknown. So she went to the casting call because she honestly thought that she wasn't like going to be casted. So he had asked her to tell him a ghost story, and so she does, but the story is about her sister that had passed away, and like she sees her sister or whatever. So he like loves the story, and he's like, yeah, you're casted, whatever. So there's 5 women that go on this island with the producer, and he wants them to live on this island for 5 days and live like how they lived in 1929. Is it? Yeah, 1929. So they dressed like them, they ate like them, whatever, and like all this weird shit was happening. But when I tell you the plot twist, I'm not gonna ruin it, but I expect this book to be highly anticipated, to be honest with you. Like, I can't really imagine any bad reviews to come about this book because there was just so much. There was just so much going on. So mark this in your calendars. It comes out in August 2026. And once you read it, let me know what you thought about it. They're 2 sisters. Layla was the oldest, and she took care of her younger sister. When she had turned 18, she got her out of the system and had custody of her. And as she grew up, and you know, she didn't want to live in poverty, but like she worked to make sure that they had food on the table. And she had left her like for 3 days by herself when she was 11 because she had to go to work. Like, it's either put food on the table or they're gonna have nothing, can't pay the bills. Well, anyways, as they got older, they both got married, and Layla, she ended up having 4 miscarriages, but she had like the perfect life. Like, she owned a business, she was very successful, had the big home, had the husband, like she had everything, but what she didn't have was a family. And her younger sister, she was an assistant, and she loved her job, but like they didn't have much money. And then she had 2 boys. The first one had passed away. And then the second one, Layla had she was taking him to the, I don't know, preschool. Well, he was 3, so I don't know, like, you know, daycare. Because her brother-in-law had called her and he had an emergency at work. And so he was like, hey, can you take, you know, our son or whatever there? She's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Totally forgets that the child is in the car, gets an emergency work call, goes right to work to take care of that, and 3 hours goes by and the son passes away. So now she's on trial to see if she's guilty, if she did it on purpose. I'm not going to spoil it for you. So if you read this book, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. If you haven't read it, read it, because I need your opinions on this, because this was a wild read. Definitely, I would probably give this one like 4 stars, I would say. This one is a must read, okay? The Taskmaster, he... Okay, I don't even know where to start with this with you guys. So both of his parents were gone. His dad offed his mother, then offed himself. And he was really young when this happened, and he basically lived in a cupboard, okay? And when the police got there, there was this one police officer that had found him and was like, you're safe, I've got you, this, that, and the third, okay? Well, he never saw that police officer again, and he was put into a group home, which was honestly so fucked up, because there was like all these guys that were in like cahoots together. And I'm talking they would not only sell them, they would do shit that shouldn't ever be done. Like, they were straight up predators. And the Taskmaster, he gave himself that name because he always felt like there was a task and he was going to master. So he didn't really talk much, you know what I mean? But he had a plan for revenge. Like, all the boys got to leave at a certain age, but they kept him there. So he ended up escaping. And as he got older, his revenge was like, he was ready. So he had all these like warehouses, containers, like everything. And so what he would do is he would get the guys one by one and he would be like, we're going to play a game. Of course, they never, lived. But he would do to them what they did to him, only worse. And he was out for straight revenge. Well, the plot twist is he was going to go after that police officer as well. So he started stalking his daughter, Abigail, and he ends up falling in love with Abigail. And she had her own secrets. She had her own secrets because she was out for revenge for her own reasons because of one of her friends. This one, I definitely gave it a 5 stars. I think that you guys should read it. And if you've already read it, then comment below and let me know what you thought about the book. Okay, this is book 1 of The Anarchy Soldiers. That Adam, who's the main guy, he's kind of like the leader of the group. He came up with this name because he's like, we're ruling this town. They've all been through shit. I'm pretty sure that they all met at the same group home and were like abused and like corruption and all that shit. I could be wrong, but it was either they all had met there or they had similar stories, right? And so they were out for justice. They were out for revenge. Like, they didn't give a shit. They abided by their rules that they had, and that was it. So Adam's the main guy, and then there's Tyler, Will, Colton, and Devin. Okay? So how it is Adam is like, okay, we need, basically, like, they're starting to kind of grow and like get money and shit like that, but he's like, we need more money because we need a place. Like, we're not going to be just standing on the street kind of thing. So he sets up one of the guys in there and says, you're going to have, I'm pretty sure the guy, he was part of the corruption, and I don't remember if he was like a cop or what, but anyways, he basically tells him, you're going to tell your friend that he is going to throw this match. Like, they did like underground fights or whatever, and you're going to throw this match. And so he does. They get a shit ton of money, and then he buys their now like home, I guess you will. And it was supposed to be condemned, this place, and it was like a rundown, like kind of like gothic looking building, and it had a chapel in it and whatever, but they bought it. They're like, too bad, so sad. They do what they want to do. So they bought it, and that was like their home. And so this kind of like sets it in. It's really funny because I never read books like in order. Like, there's something wrong with me. And so this is book 1, but I had already read the Taskmaster before this. And I had read The Player before I had started this one, and I was like, of course I never read anything in order. But if you've read this series or you've started it, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. I thought that these were great reads. I don't want to ruin this one too much, but this kind of like sets it up for like how they became who they are and that kind of thing. Personally, The Taskmaster, that one is my favorite book in this series. They're all standalones, by the way, but they do kind of go in, because I think it's about each guy. Like, each book is each guy in this little like gang or whatever you want to call it. So if you've read it, let me know. If you haven't, read this book and then let me know your comments down below. The Player is the first book in the Anarchy Soldiers, and in this book, Will is the main character. And Will, his personality is like, he likes to joke, and he just thinks that he's so damn funny, okay? Well, he has the biggest crush on this girl named Bee, and Bee's sister, her boyfriend is also one of the brothers in this club that they have. They aren't real brothers, but they know each other from shit that's happened to them in the past. And this also goes with the master. So anyways, Will, he has a crush on B, and he's been trying to get with her for a long time, and B's kind of like, hell no, but secretly she has a crush on him too. Well, guess what? The Taskmaster gets a hold of both of them, kidnaps them both, and now they are in like a cell. And so the Taskmaster's like, you're going to play my games, and if you don't play them, and if you don't win, then you're going to die. And so he would give them different games to play. And so they would have to move into this other room, and essentially they would have to off somebody. And it'd be different ways that they would do that. And Will's like, what the fuck? B's freaking out. So they do the tasks, and they, win, right? Because they have like a certain amount of time. And so they win, but then they get taken back to their cell. Well, the last person was her father. And the Taskmaster was like, all these guys are bad. They all deserve it. And so he was the last person. Well, Will had the option to either off him or off himself. So he goes to do what his task was, and the Taskmaster's like, nay, too bad. He was already going to die. And so he gets the electric chair. And so Will and B, they escape, right? They get let loose. He lets all of his brothers know. She lets her sister know, like, what had happened. And then Will finally realizes how he knew the Taskmaster, because when they were younger, they were in a home together, a group home, and then he remembered. All of his memories came back on what happened, and that he, in fact, left Isaiah, which is the Taskmaster, and he broke his promise. And so they don't find him, and then it goes into, he gets away or whatever, and then it goes into the Taskmaster book, like what's leading up to that. It was a really good book. I would give this one 5 stars for me. She gets Hayden to admit that he stole her pearls, like he was her stalker, but he's like, there's another one. So she's like, I need some space, like I don't know what to believe, blah 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 blah, and so on, right? And he's like, too bad, so sad, because hello, there's somebody that's out to they want to kill you. And she got a package at her work, and she literally passed out like from it because some bad shit had happened to her before. And so Hayden over here, he's like, too bad we're going to an island, because of course they're going to an island. Where else would they go? So they go to an island or whatever, and he's basically figuring out like how her dad ties into how his mom had died. Like he is on his bullshit of he's gonna figure out, he's gonna get justice for how his mom passed away. So he doesn't care. Like he too bad, so sad. So they go to the island. She thinks that she's on birth control, and he's over here like, nay, you just got saline. Like she doesn't know about it, because of course he wants to get her pregnant. Hello. So of course he knocks her up or whatever, but he doesn't know that she's pregnant. And then her friend gets hit by a car, because the bad dudes are like, this is how we're going to lure them back in, because we can't find Callie and Hayden, right? So she goes to see her friend, and of course, they, shit happens. You know what I mean? Like shit happens. I need you to read this book. If you haven't read this book, then please do that. Thank you so much. If you have read this book, comment below and let me know what you thought about it. I try not to ruin these books too much for you guys so you guys can read them, but you know what? I just get carried away because, it's who I am. So I don't know what to tell you. Okay, thanks! Once You're Mine, hell yes, sign me up for this book. So Callie over here, her dad is a damn senator, right? Who does some shady boot shit. Well, he is in court for some shady boot shit, and the lawyer that's against him, he's pissed off because he got away with it, okay? He's convinced that he's done some bad shit. He's convinced that he's a Killer, okay? But in the meantime, he sees Callie in court, and Mofo is like, I want to know about her. He becomes obsessed with her. He wants to know everything about her life. Well, guess what? He offs her dad. She has no idea, okay? He offs her dad, gone, see ya. He doesn't care, because he's the type of lawyer that he's like, if he doesn't get the right justice that he feels, guess what? You gotta go, okay? You gotta go. He doesn't care. So she's broke as fuck. She has no damn money. He becomes obsessed with her, makes her fall for him, and he's like, oh, I can protect you. But really, he's stalking her. And he's like, oh, I can protect you. Da 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 da. Steals this pearl necklace. Book ends with said pearls that she finds, and she's like, what the fuck? You were my stalker the whole time. But she does have like another stalker. And there is a book 2 on this. If you guys have read this book, I need to know. Like, I need to know your thoughts. I need to know what you rated it. If you haven't read this book, can you please read this book? Because I need people who love this shit as much as I do. Okay? Keelan's mother was murdered by Rev's father. Okay? So Keelan is now making it his life's mission to torture Rev and make her life complete shit. Like, she's being punished for what her father did. Because, and keep in mind, her father is in prison. But he's going to be getting out. Like, he didn't even get life. Could you imagine? Her dad is a serial you-know-what, and he didn't even get life. So he's going to be getting out of prison. But until then, Keelan is like, too bad, so sad. So he goes to the same university as her, makes her life hell. He's an Olympic swimmer, okay? When I tell you Olympic swimmer. So whatever he says goes. People, they just suck up to him. The whole thing. Well, when I tell you enemies to lovers book, this is definitely that, okay? This is that. I don't want to ruin the book too much for you guys, but I will say that her dad gets out of prison and she's like in fear for her life because she ain't about it. Like, she knows that he's a piece of shit and she has this secret. Like, she witnessed some of this when she was like really young. Like, I think it was like 6 years old or 8 years old or something like that. So she's like fucked up in the head herself. And I feel really bad for her. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel bad for Keelan too because, I mean, hello, how is it that your mom, he just lost his dad like 2 years prior to this or some shit. And then his mom goes out on a date with her dad who is cheating on, he's married by the way, cheating on his wife, and he just offs her. And the thing is he was such a good serial you-know-what that like they couldn't find any evidence. They couldn't find any evidence like to prove anybody guilty. So Keelan, he's the one that took the stand. And he was like, no, I seen the guy, blah, blah, blah. And he was young too. He was like, I don't know, 8 years old or whatever. So he got portrayed as like this liar. Media hated him because he's the one that was responsible for putting her dad behind bars. And everybody hated that. They're like, you're going to let a kid decide this, da, 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 da. But he wasn't a liar. So I mean, there's just so much to say about this book. But, you know, some of you guys just get so mad when I ruin it for you guys. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. And I need you guys to let me know. Thank you so much. I don't even know what to say about this one, okay? This was a short read. I'm pretty sure there's like 5 or 6 books to this. This book was literally, I think, like 35 pages or something. And it weirded me out because, like, he's like a bazillionaire. And he's like a tech guy, but he's now dead, right? So she's like going to his funeral, and he was always like, yeah, I'm gonna do AI and all this shit with AI, and he's gonna stay young forever. And his business partner, like, they've been working on this super secret thing. And I don't know, just the thought of like technology and how probably like they're already doing that and somebody wrote a book about this shit, it kind of creeps me out, I'm not gonna lie. But also, she goes to the funeral, and he has, like, 4 other wives, okay? Because, like, a bazillionaire. And so they're all at the funeral, and next thing you know, so they have, like, 30 years, like, difference in each other. He's, like, 30 years older. Anyways, they're at the funeral, and yeah, his body's in the casket or whatever, but he's like, hey, by the way, I'm over here. And he's, like, now in his fucking 20s, and she's like, what? Is that really you? And he's like, yeah, it's me. And then don't worry, like the FBI, CIA, police, I don't know, they show up and they're like, so-and-so, you're under arrest for murder. So like the person's body that he stole, I guess, to use, which is creepy as hell. But honestly, like, do you guys think that really happens already? Because I kind of do. So the body that he stole is like, clearly they, I don't know, murdered some people. I'm not reading the other 5 books or whatever because I'm not going to lie, I got creeped out. I feel I feel like this might already be happening and I don't want to know. So if you read this book, let me know. If you haven't, then just hurry up and read it and then let me know your comments on it. Thank you so much.